what better than to make God's values our priority by going back to the understanding that we shouldn't sin. And he gave us 10 simple rules that we can live our life by that can lead us away from sin, or know when we do sin, we would know because we're violating what he said don't do. It's the 10 Commandments. Of all the things, of all this technology, all these ozone ones, all these storage banks, and all these caves filled with data all over the place, God says, I'll give you 10 rules. You know what? Do you even know what they are? Do you even know what the 10 Commandments are? Be honest. Can you name them all? Don't name them now, but can you name them? Let's just go over them real quick. As a matter of fact, before we go over them, I'm going to give you a challenge. It's the 10 Commandment Challenge. And I have a nice certificate right here that I want to send you. I'll personally sign it if you take this challenge and you do succeed at it. So I'll talk about the challenge in a moment. And I also have something else I want to show you and tell you more about this as well. But this is so awesome. This is not the 10 Commandments, but it's about what is my purpose. This can be made available to you as well. So we'll get busy with this. Let me set it down. So what are the 10 Commandments? First, let's just look at Exodus chapter 20. They're in Exodus chapter 20, verse 1 through 17. But we want to ask this question in Deuteronomy 10, 12, and 13. What does God ask of us, right? So he says this, what does the Lord your God require of you? So this is what God requires of us. Except to listen carefully to all he says to you and to obey for your own good. These rules and teachings that Jesus gives us, they're not to hamper us. They're to keep us from being held captive. He says, you listen carefully to everything he says and you obey them for your own good. You obey the commandments that I am giving you today, and love him and to worship him with all of your heart and with all of your soul. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. So that's everything. That's everything. So what are these 10 commandments? Let's just look at them. The first one is this. You shall have no other gods. Boom-o, there it goes right up front, right? You shall have no other gods before me. I have given God, this is what it means. I have given God first place in my life. Every part of my life has been surrendered to God. My time, my priorities, my values, my material possessions, and my lifestyle. So in other words, he's God above all. He's God above all. I mean, how many, since we've been teaching this series, how many are violating the very first commandment, right? The very first one is like, boom, you failed the test on the first question, right? So that's the first commandment. The second commandment is this. You shall not make any graven images or idols. We've seen that take place. All is going on. You shall not make any graven images, which means we'll be saying, I have not made or possess anything that I allow myself to worship in any way with my time, money, or energy. So what about your time? Where's your time at? Where's your money at? Where's your energy at? Has your job become an idol? Has your phone become an idol? Has other things have you become an idol? He said you can't make one of anything. So God takes priority in all those areas of our life. And so the third, we're on the third. Some people are going like, oh my goodness, I done failed the first two. But you can repent. That's the whole thing. He says God is not unjust, right? He will not forget the things you said to him. And as you're helping his people and you continue to help him, but he also says this in 1 John 1:9, that if you confess your sins, he's faithful and just to forgive you of your sins and cleanse you from all unrighteousness. What the law does to us as a taskmaster, it brings us in and realize, I have sinned. And we get forgiveness, and then all of a sudden we're walking with God again in the right path, empowered by his Spirit. So the third commandment is, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. I mean, how many people are just blaspheming his name today? They're blaspheming his name. So you're saying when I use the name of God, I use it with honor and respect, out of love and thanksgiving for what it means to me, including on my entertainment. I don't allow people to curse his name on a movie I see. Oh, I don't stay in relationships where people are constantly defaming his name. And if I have authority over that situation, I stop it. Why? Because I honor his name. I'm not scared of it. But why do you actually tolerate that? The third commandment says, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God's name in vain. You can't take it in vain. Some people go, I can't believe this person's taking the Lord's name in vain. But you watch movies all day long and they curse God and your kids are confused. You say you love him, but you allow cursing of him to come in your own home, over your own media, over your own whatever, how you do that. Say, don't let it come near your ears, in your home, in your relationships. You're destroying your home by violating the third of the 10 commandments. And the fourth is, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. What you're saying is, I set aside time in my schedule to honor God with a Sabbath rest, a rest. To slow down and let God speak to me and to share with God's people in worship and in praise. That's why you come together in fellowship with other believers. You just stop. You're saying, God, you're in control. I don't need to be working all the time. I can just relax and trust you. You are God of the Sabbath. The fifth is honor God. The fifth commandment is honor your father and mother. Honor your father and mother. Boy, is that being dumped on his head, right? What are you saying if you follow that? He says, I respect and cherish my parents, and I recognize their authority over me as from God. So what are you seeing today? You're seeing Romans chapter 1, where children are literally just destroying their parents. It's been going on since like the 50s or 60s, just mowing them down. What are they mowing down? The fifth commandment, right? They're coming against God's commandment. The sixth commandment is, you shall not murder. It's not you should not kill. You shall not murder. And what does that mean? I have a great reverence for life as from God. Life is from God, so you don't take it. Number 7, the seventh commandment is, you shall not commit adultery. You shall not commit adultery. What you're saying to yourselves, I recognize that the sexual relationship is the sacred health of a marriage, and I am willing to discipline my sexual desires in order to not defraud another or myself, and to keep myself pure both before and after marriage. As we're talking about in the previous series of all the pornography coming over all the artificial intelligence devices and phones, that you won't have sex with your phone or your computer. You're being pure. You don't look at that lustfully. You don't look at it, because if you do, you're violating the seventh commandment. Jesus said, if you looked at this person lustfully, this image, first of all, if you're looking at an image, you're violating the second commandment, because it's an idol, right? But then you're also committing adultery with the image, which is the seventh commandment. Some husbands look at his wife and go, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I was doing all that. And so the eighth commandment is, you shall not steal. Oh my goodness. You shall not steal. Do we see people stealing today? What does that mean? I do not take what does not belong to me, and I work for what I get. I do not take what does not belong to me, and I work for what I get. And we're seeing today people just coming against that particular eighth commandment, and they're stealing. You'll own nothing, and you'll be happy, right? The ninth commandment, it's only 10. The ninth commandment is, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. It means you don't lie. I misspoke. That means you lied. They say, I misspoke. That's a lie. So if we actually live this way in accordance with the ninth commandment, we're saying, I endeavor to tell the truth about my conduct and to reserve judgment about others until I know the facts, and I refuse to engage in gossip that would hurt or wound others. I'm really watching my mouth. And finally, the last commandment, 10th commandment. Thou shalt not, or you shall not, covet your neighbor's possessions. Man, this one's being violated big time through social media. Oh, I want a house like that. Oh, I want a husband like that. Oh, I want a life like that. I need the money like that. I want to be a millionaire so doggone bad. 10th commandment says, you shall not covet your neighbor's possessions. I am not jealous. That's what it means. I am not jealous for anyone else's possessions. I am content with what God has given me, both in talents and possessions. Oh my goodness, are we in deep violation of these commandments right now? Oh my goodness. You know, I'm going to teach you. I'm going to give you the challenge. And this is the challenge I want you to be able to I'm going to teach you those 10 commandments. You're going to know them in just a few moments. In a few minutes, I'm going to teach you those 10 commandments. And if you take this challenge with me, and I'll tell you what the challenge is in more detail in a moment, but I'll be able to send you the certificate signed, and it's you post it on your wall to be able to remind you, I want to make God's values my priority. And so we're going to take them one at a time. I want you to do this with your own hands. We're going to do some signs, like sign language. 10 signs, and we're out of here. So the first thing that God tells us is, you shall not have other gods before me, right? So take your finger like this and point it straight up. And you're pointing to God. Say him and him only. So when you do that, that's the first commandment. You go, right? You shall have no other gods before me. And the second is, you shall not make for yourself any idols or worship any other gods, graven images, right? So take this, when you're pointing straight up, and then bring it right down in front of you like this. And that's an I. Say that's an I. Can you say it's an I? Say it stands for idolatry, images, right? You shall have no other gods, first. Second is what? You shall not make for yourself any idols or any graven images to worship any false idols, right? So no other gods, no graven images. And what's the third? You shall not use the Lord's name in vain, right? So watch this. You take this, no graven images, and you go, boop, and you make an L. See, L? Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Pretty good, right? No other gods, no graven images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. So what's the fourth? Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. So I want you to take your hand like this and kind of go like that. So now you have a place wherever your church gathers at, whether it's a house or wherever it is, cathedral. So there you are right there. That's a house. So you're remembering the Sabbath. I'm going to go there. I'm going to worship God, fellowship with God's people. I'm going to pay attention, hear what God's saying to me. And so there you go. So you have no other gods, no graven images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. And they go, you made a house, right? And so what's the fifth? Take your finger and go over like this. And now you're going to make an H. Why are you going to make an H? Because the fifth is honor your father and mother. Do that. Go like this. Honor your mother and father. No other gods, no images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath. Keep it holy. H, honor your mother and father. You got 5 of them down. I'm so proud of you, right? And what's the 6? So here you are making an H. The 6 is what? You shall not murder. So make a gun like this. Boosh. So you shall not murder. Look to your neighbor and say, you shall not murder, right? So you got your finger like this. You shall not murder. So we have, let's do it together. No other gods, no graven images, right? Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. H, honor your mother and father. And do not murder, right? Now leave your gun like that, right? Your hand like that. And then go like this. Go, boop, make an X. Say that's for X-rated. Do not commit adultery. Say that. Do not commit adultery. So that means, so you say an X. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Man, that's 6. I'm proud of you. Look at this. No other gods, no graven images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath, right? Honor your parents. Do not murder. And do not commit adultery, right? And what's the next? I got to take a deep breath. I'm holding my breath while I'm doing this. Is go like this. That's the 5-finger discount. Say stealing. You shouldn't steal. It's like this. So, no other gods, no graven images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Honor God. Honor your parents, your mother and father, right? Don't murder. Don't commit adultery. And don't steal, the 5-finger discount. Wow. Oh my goodness, you're like almost there. Oh my goodness. And so we're not stealing nothing, right? The 5-finger discount. Let's go like this. Say that's lying. This is stealing, 5-finger discount. Say this is lying, like that. Lying. This is stealing, 5-finger discount. And this is lying. Say thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not lie. So let's do it again. No other gods, no graven images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath and rest. Honor your mother and your father, right? That your life will go well. Do not, right, murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal, the 5-finger discount. And do not lie. Oh my goodness. We've done 9. You think we can do the 10th one? I think we can do the 10th one. So you're doing this, right? You're saying you're not lying. I guess you'd be doing this, you're not lying, right? Or you're saying good words. So then go like this. Take your lying hand like this, right? And go like that, like a telescope. And go like this over your eye and kind of look like that at your neighbor's stuff and go, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's stuff. So you're looking through a telescope like this and you're looking at what your neighbor's got on their Facebook, right? So that's your coveting. He says, don't do that. If you're about to get it, let's do all 10. Here you go. Ready? Let's do it together. No other gods, no graven images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Right, good. Remember the Sabbath. Honor your mother and father. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not lie. And what else? Do not covet. Is that awesome? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All 10. Give yourself a hand. I'm so proud of you. This is the challenge. The challenge is to do what I did. You can text right now the word 10. You can see it on your screen, TEN, to 850-7864. GLM, and it has all the details on there. I have this certificate signed, ready for you to have it when you meet the challenge. What is the challenge? First of all, also, you'll be able to see these as well. This is an amazing design that we put together and had a carpenter in Virginia design this for us, and we have this available, all different sizes. But this is, what is my God purpose? God, G-O-D. You see me always wearing an armband here. It says G-O-D on my arm. Is a heart of gratitude, a soul of obedience, and a mind of dependency. So there's so much we'll share about this, but we're not talking about that right now. But it'll be available on the very same area. Just text 10 to 850-7864 GLM. You see all the details. So this is the challenge. The challenge is for you to do what I did, but to record yourself on a video, upload it to your choice of media sources, and give us the link. There'll be a place for that on the form when you text that to text 10 to 850-7864 GLM. And this is what you got to do. You got to first, let me give you a few little steps. First, prepare your camera with a clean lens. I never thought of it. We took a photography class, and they said, clean your lens on your camera phone, right? Phone camera. So prepare your camera, have your lens clean, and have it pointed directly at you. Say directly at you. Like right now, you're seeing me because these cameras are pointed directly at me. Second thing is place your camera at eye level. Place your camera at eye level. The third thing is make sure you have plenty of light. Light is the amazing thing that makes video really work and television work. Make sure you have enough light because we've got to be able to see what you're doing. Look into the camera and perform all 10. No other gods, no graven images. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath. Honor your parents. Do not murder. Do not commit adultery. Do not steal. Do not lie. And do not what? covet. But you do this yourself. And so you're saying them, and you're doing it. And when you fill that out and you submit that to us, paste the link in the form, you'll see it there, then we will, first of all, celebrate with you, but also we'll be able to send you the certificate so you can hang on your wall to remember that I'm going to make God's priorities, I'm going to make God's values my priority. So I challenge you right now. I challenge you to the 10 Commandment challenge. Go there now and do it now.